Okay, thank you, Sean. Bye. Hi, everybody. I am so sorry. This has been my entire day today. One program, and 1,000 ways it can go wrong. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
And Mercury isn't even in retrograde.
Right? It's not like it has to be. Oh, all right. Really sorry about that. We should be streaming to YouTube and having this up on WebEx the way it was supposed to. It just, yeah, okay. A couple minutes to recover from that.
I'm in no rush, we've got a quorum, so we can technically start.
Okay, good.
We can wait.
Good.
It's 4:07.
I know Jacob will not be joining us today. He is actually thinking of resigning.
We bored him that much?
I'm not sure what the reason is. We didn't get a chance to talk because I was doing tech support all day. Yeah, so, if there's an election today, that won't affect
Well,
them.
there are announcements in regards to that. My house is not on the market.
Oh.
There is a short-term financial solution that's keeping it off the market. And there are long-term meetings happening in LA that will keep me here for long-term, so.
Awesome.
I don't have to, and the truth is, I mean, all you would have to do is remove the acting, which would release you of your liability for SAG. And so I'm just putting that out there.
So that means you can.
I can,
Be president, not just acting
I,
president.
exactly, that is the law.
I'm hearing.
That is the law. Make a short story long. Yes, that is what I am getting at. So
Well, good.
that would still take a vote, but we can, and then we would still need a vice.
Okay.
I've got plenty of vices, so. How my mind works, we can let it.
I was right there with you both.
So, I guess with that, we should probably, call the meeting to order. And allow Danielle to take roll.
Sure, I'm happy to.
I think that's how it's supposed to work now.
We're in the process of restructuring, all the CAG standardization. So however, folks, we've had a lot of different liaisons doing their meetings all different ways. And now we're all trying to do them the same way, which is creating a ton of pain points, with technology and other things. So yeah, sure.
Okay.
How would you like me to do it?
I don't have a problem with just everybody going around the room and saying their
Saying
name,
your name,
and that
yeah.
sort of thing as well. So
That sounds
I'm
good.
fine with that.
Let's do a council meeting style.
Mark the absences, so.
All right. Well, I am Danielle Choi. I am the city staff liaison.
Dream high.
Almond Shaw.
Wyatt, first meeting here, excited to be part of the group.
Good to meet you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Ursula. Bo, vice chair.
Candidate number.
So that takes us to the approval of the agenda. Which is a new looking agenda.
Yes. Everything's redesigned.
It leaves a lot of things up in the air. So I would open a motion to approve.
If we have physical copies here, I'm just trying to get a digital copy up for anybody.
This the agenda or the minutes?
We've got both.
Yep.
Let me grab them for
I
you.
have a note on the March minutes.
Okay.
I have notes too on the minutes, but the agenda looked okay, so I will move to approve the agenda.
All right, all those in favor?
Second.
No, that is unanimous. Everybody voting yes. We have no no's, and the agenda is approved. Public comment.
None for me.
See anybody on, unless anybody home today.
They are supposed to email now, and I did not get any emails, but you have to read the fine print to the agenda, so I think if we can have some flexibility for a little bit, that would probably be appreciated.
If the public shows up and wants to make a comment, they can.
Sounds good.
I would like to note that, I really enjoyed having, Youngin with us at
Yes.
the last meeting. I don't know why the youth advisory committee is off on their own and why we don't have a youth advisory person on each of the committees, because why shouldn't we have that voice?
Would you like me to invite them to a meeting?
I would love to,
Yeah.
you know, because community involvement involves the youth, and having that different perspective does nothing but help,
It's true.
is my thought. So,
And we usually have Gary here representing planning commission, so if we have a youth person representing the youth, he could.
we'd have a good, yeah, we'd have the city covered, so that would be that was nice, and it was, accidental, I guess, so that takes us to, elections. As noted, I will not be vacating my, chair, whatever chair that may be, whether it be vice or other, so I guess I'm open to,
I move to nominate Bo for chair.
damn, I'm gonna lose my paycheck. It's a long running road. I'm in SAG, Screen Actors Guild. So if you have acting, we've never had a chair. He resigned I took over the meeting, the first one, because the
Yeah.
child was here. And he resigned before the second one, right after the second one. So I've been the acting, and I made a joke that acting, you're gonna have day minimum, anyway. Again, make a short story long.
I would say.
I gladly, accept your nomination, and, all those in favor? Well, there you go. I would take nominations for a vice. Chair, that is.
How would you feel still? Very experienced.
I could be vice.
I accept your nomination. Would you, or second, Shannon's nomination, second, and all of those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome aboard again.
I just can't be chair to you.
No, I get it. And I should be able to take care of everything. And if I am in LA, I will join via electronic, and you may have to run that meeting, but that shouldn't happen too often, so.
Other active members to be currently still
We still have, in the minutes, we still have Charlie and Vicky
Oh, yeah.
and Ken.
He usually.
Yeah, we
Says
did
that
hear
she
from
comes.
Vicky about this, and she knew about this.
I think she's driving up from Salem, right? Yeah, so she might be a little.
Okay, which I believe that's on our agenda to discuss, so, we'll, I don't know if that falls under old news or old business or new business.
However you
but
want to do it.
We'll figure it out. So we have a chair and a vice, so that brings us to approval of minutes. In regards to the March minutes, I am an idiot. The reason nobody else can remember the guy who was sitting next to me was because he was at the, utility advisory board, not the CCI meeting. They always sit in the same chair, so the March should be good to go.
Okay, my thing was towards the bottom where I said that my Highway 43 thing. Yeah. I was concerned about forcing housing, not mixed use zoning, because I'm good for the mixed use zoning. I was concerned about forcing housing as required with any development.
And I take it you have been listening to, Chris's presentations of late,
Yes.
and it's being covered?
Yep, I sent my comments in both to planning commission this time, and, because last time I didn't send it to planning commission, because I listened to the meeting afterwards,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was part of it. So before the next set of questions got sent to planning commission, I sent my,
Okay, yeah, so they are taking that into account as well, so it's not to force that.
So with those changes, I will move to.
For March and April.
Oh. I didn't look at the other ones.
Marches were
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
much,
Marches, I was already okay.
yeah,
with
Marches
those.
were ready to be approved except for my brain cramp.
Okay.
And so that was the only thing standing in the way of their approval, so.
Okay, so yeah, March and April minutes.
All right, do we have a second for that? All right, those in favor of approving the minutes? Those opposed? Unanimous in favor. So that brings us to new business. What do we have in regards to new business? We didn't have a chance to chat about any of this.
It's really your rodeo.
Um, I don't have a whole lot. I mean, in regards to planning, I know that on the socials, there has been a hullabaloo about the food cart proposal
I don't think I've
happening
heard
on
about this,
Falls
no.
Drive. Falls Drive and 9th.
11, my,
11?
at my business.
The whole
My
that
whole
you
address. Because my address already has like 5 businesses attached. But like, it's more confusion to add another.
Which is,
food cart.
they've been
Wait, is that right? Are you right by like McMenamin?
right there at the
That
floor,
No, it's up on Willamette Falls Drive.
where the pool
Where-
supply store is, across from the music project.
In front of the pools supply.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where.
that vacant spot
Yeah, I
that's
saw that
been
this week,
being
yeah.
prepped
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's right across from the brand new building, the most newest building that went up on the corner, with the big Willamette on the corner.
Okay.
It's across the street from that.
So another food cart.
yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. In full disclosure, I sat in on the pre-app meeting as the representative for the Willamette Neighborhood Association, so I'm quite familiar with the project.
I have all the plans for it because it's my
And so,
doing it.
like I say, the whole is what I was giving her a joke for falling into, because it's literally right outside the door.
Yeah.
My understanding of the situation is that food truck owners have come to the owner of the property and said, we want to put our trucks here, let us. Which tells me there's some kind of a demand for it. I think the biggest concerns are noise, because although it will not start with a bar, there is plans for a alcohol beverage service area. There is a preschool right next door. There is an elementary school within 2 to 3 blocks. There's the youth music project right across the street. You're also right there at the circle, and parking is not required.
What do you parking not?
They don't have to have,
No parking is
They don't
required.
have-
They don't have to add any parking for, got you.
Sorry,
No,
It's in discussion.
no, like I say,
there's
I
the
was at,
neighborhood association this month, right?
yeah, my understanding is the June 11th, you'll be presenting at the, Willamette Neighborhood Association, which is a requirement to submit all of your plans to the planning department.
Yeah, so it'll go to the neighborhood association, then he'll go to planning. And if planning approves it, then it's, and no one, what's it called?
Objects.
Subjective.
Yeah, but there's an actual term for like files, an appeal. No one appealed it, then he's good to go. If there's appeal, then it would go to council, and council makes the final decision. Kind of how the whole land.
Rezone it or anything, or is it?
Yes, that is the sticking point is that it is not currently zoned for this use.
Gotcha.
So it is asking for a
It's a
conditional
conditional,
use.
yeah. It's zoned mixed use, so this would be a conditional use for the mixed use zoning.
8. It's the same size lot as the garage. They have 8 as well, my understanding. Now, the alcohol is not approved and would have to be another permit process. So the alcohol is not necessarily in the equation at the moment. but it is part of a bigger discussion.
But his plan is to do a building, so a whole building that would house alcohol, and most of it would be inside. Like if I look at the plans, there's very little outdoor seating. It's mostly inside, so I think it'll be different from the garage noise wise, in that it's planning
Like
to
a
be
central
more inside of a bar situation, more like the ale house, where the ale house has cars in the back. Most of it is all in it.
But you do also have aesthetics coming into play, because on Willamette Falls Drive is going to be rows of food trucks. So it's not going to be the garage where it's open and food trucks are around it.
But maybe from a noise level,
True.
it'll have more, there's not gonna be covered areas like the garage has for outdoor, which makes the garage so loud is because it's all outdoors, and that covered area, it just echoes.
Have you seen the one like that's in Happy Valley, or the one down in Salem, where the building's enclosed and the food carts are around? Is it like that?
Yes, so there, yeah, he has a building in the center, and then the
For all,
food
like,
carts on the
seating.
outside, and there's a couple picnic but there's only maybe like 6 picnic tables in the drawings that he gave me. So most of it he is planning on,
Are those the drawings he drew?
yes.
I would think your biggest issue right there is the
Parking.
because at least at the other end, you're not
With that,
really competing.
with that being said, the garage does not have parking either.
Yeah,
But I mean.
But it does have more street
but
parking.
I will say that side at night, when they tend to be more crowded, that side of the street has less, that end of the street has less restaurants, so there's actually more free parking available right now. If you went like on a Friday or Saturday night, there's plenty of parking by my business. So.
But that also encroaches into, the neighborhood. You have parking in the neighborhood and that, the noise that comes along with that. Which they didn't sign up for, when they,
Yes, I kind of did.
well.
I live in the neighborhood. The whole point of living in the neighborhood is so that you can walk to all these things. That's kind of the advantage of it. And that also means other people are gonna come and park.
There's an aspect of what it says about West Linn that there's more and more businesses wanting to be there versus having a hard time holding it down.
Yeah,
My business is on that strip and that's great as far as.
And if the food trucks are asking for it to be there, that must say that there's some kind of a demand for it,
I mean, I was a big proponent of getting the other food carts allowed. I fought really hard with the city to get them allowed at the garage originally. Because the thing with food carts is that it's a low cost startup for small businesses. It's all small businesses.
Yeah.
A lot of minority owned businesses, because you get the ethnic food. So I think it's a great way to bring business in, more business owners in. I'm very pro business.
Entry point for folks.
And it is right there at the freeway exit, so you have people stopping to get gas or whatever, but then again, you do bring in the parking, and where do you park while you get your food? So.
That goes back to us needing to put the transit. That's a whole other debate.
We'll save that for the transportation advisory committee. Well, that's all I know in regards to planning.
When is there a
and,
proposal to put that in?
I do not know the timetable on that.
Yeah, so they have to do the meeting, the neighborhood association represents us next week.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then after that,
2
we'll
weeks,
get it on the docket with planning, so it's whenever.
2 weeks, it's the 11th.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks. I always think it's kind
This is a weird month,
We still have another couple days.
another week.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Vicky.
Hi.
So, yeah, so then they would get on the plan. It's just a matter of when they get it scheduled on planning. Depending on their schedule. I think it has to be done once they submit the application. I think the application's not deemed complete until they do the neighborhood association.
It is a requirement.
So
for
once
the-
it's deemed complete, it's 180 days that the city has to do their process to approve it.
And they try to do that by 60 in case there are any appeals and that sort of thing, so they don't run up the clock, so.
I mean, he thinks it's gonna, realistically, he thinks it's gonna be probably next year before they're open. Just with all the process and everything like that. But he went ahead and started doing all the landscaping because the landscaping doesn't require the permit. So he's just doing landscaping. He
And
hasn't-
it's all stuff that he himself can do.
Yeah.
Well, it's paved too, right there.
It's not.
It's not,
gravel.
yeah, it's gravel back there, but
Yeah,
parts of
there's,
it are paved. but-
there's the driveway that is paved.
Oh,
He is going to be required to put in barriers to keep cars from being able to get in.
Sure.
They are going to put some type of a gate.
There will be cars getting in because the school and spa house will still have. parking.
Exactly. But right there at the driveway, there will be barriers so that they can get into the cars. Movable so that they can swap out parts where needed.
And he's spending a lot on we've hired a professional landscape architect.
He is,
He's
he is,
spending a lot of money on the landscape. He wants it to look beautiful, but his whole dream about.
it is very true. He's fixing it up for his kids to run. His son lives on site, so there will, I don't know if that's gonna last forever, but you know, that's a good positive with regards to noise, because he's right there.
I could have say some comments on it, but it won't be on.
And when you say the opening up, would it be in stages as far, like when they open, would that center building be there? Or would it just be,
I think he's planning on opening the carts first and then
so you would have that outdoor aspect for a while?
yeah, but like I said, he doesn't have a lot of tables there, so it might be more.
He is also hiring the same architect slash design firm that did the garage. So there will be some congruity.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
regards to. Sand it bookends
Right.
the strip, so to speak. That wild, you know, Westland strip. And I got caught in the traffic today. It had another 3 minutes to my drive.
The traffic's in really bad. I mean, we haven't anything about that. It's all 205 diversion traffic, but they are
Like I said, it added,
speeding through the neighborhood, not even stopping at that stop sign right by the school. They just keep going, don't even look. And I drive on that street. Have to make sure people are stopping. They shouldn't have to wait to see if someone's gonna stop at a stop sign, but I have to know.
my house is at the end of a cul-de-sac, I haven't had that problem.
Mine too.
I kid. Welcome, Vicky. That is on our new business as well. Having a discussion about moving the start time of this meeting to accommodate people who have a long drive after even though it's gonna end in June for whatever reason. Do you teach or?
No, I work in Salem, and so session ends the end of Salem, and then I'll be able to work from home. So I don't need it to change just for one more day, one more Thursday, Tuesday.
Well, it will drag out into the spring as well, or fall.
Mm-mm,
I don't even know where we are in the fall. Okay,
mm-mm.
You're good?
then I don't think that we need to, be concerned about that. But I have a feeling we are going to be getting at least one, possibly two new members in the coming weeks, given that one has been absent consistently. And that's a no-no when it comes to your assignments, so that will come into play, and, we will be potentially losing, Jacob as well. So, join the city. New me. Well, then I guess we will not have a discussion about moving the start time to, 6:30.
So, I don't know if this is new business or old business, but did the council, I know you guys are making everything a little more cohesive on the way you're running the CADs, but are they doing that council report thingy? Is that starting?
Yes, I could do that now. I was gonna save it for the staff update, but I'm happy to chat. Yeah, so One thing council is hoping to do is to have better communication with each of their CAGs. My understanding, I can't speak for council, but my understanding is that they want to kind of have a conversation about what, your goals are and what their goals are regarding, all things communications for the city of West Linn. And then fill out some sort of bullet points, and the assistant to the city manager will be the one kind of liaising between that, and we'll come up with a work plan, and you'll need to approve it, council will need to approve it, and hopefully we can all come to an agreement about, specific goals that we'd like to accomplish here. So yeah, kind of a big transformation potentially, but the idea is to give, more direction, right? And council would like to, I guess, support their CAGs a little more closely than they've been. So one other thing that's going to help with that, this is our new CAG meeting information sheet. This needs to be filled out whenever a council member is not here. Our council liaison, Mary, was not able to make it today, for example, because she's going to a budget committee meeting that happens to be at the same time, right? This, happens. So if she's out, they're asking the CAG chair or designee. So, Bo could designate whoever he wants. The idea being it's just for when your council liaison is absent. It just kind of goes over some key points and recommendations about what the major things that were discussed that meeting, in that meeting that they missed, so they can kind of catch up and stay on top of the business that each CAG is working on. Does that make sense?
Whoever has the best handwriting.
That is definitely not me.
Not me. Mine is illegible, that's why I say that.
I can barely read it sometimes. Which is why I type everything up. Can I do that with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, why don't we do that together,
Sounds
just so
good.
we're all on
Yeah.
the same page, and just be part of what we're doing. She did stop by, grab an agenda, and said that she would be here in spirit. So
That counts.
the mayor stopped by as well and said hello, but it was only me and Danielle.
Going
So.
to the same meeting.
Other new business. I feel like there is something on that list that is just escaping me. Did we ever finish our discussion on the food courts? Did we feel like we needed to do anything about that? Is anything need to happen? Do we wait? Do we mention the concern we're hearing? I guess I'm feeling a bit rudderless since the big goal of what we wanted to do has not been given permission.
Right.
So I feel like we are a bit rudderless right now in where we're going.
Could we catch Kent up on?
Yeah, what is it? What's his big goal?
There we go. At the beginning of the year in January, I presented to the city council in regards to the neighborhood associations and their lack of involvement, but lack of community involvement in ways that we can help that. And being part of CCI, the Committee for Citizen Community Involvement, it seemed like the best place for it to fall. So we kind of sat together down and said, if we were to do this, these are the things that we would want to do. Wrote up a letter, sent it to council saying, this is what we would like to do. And we're still waiting to hear from them. About a 4-page letter. Basically, we wanted to work with the neighborhood associations to set up a booth at the Wednesday markets, to set up a table at the movies, to set up a table at the concerts. And each week it could be person by a different neighborhood association. That way no one's overpowered. And not only would you be recruiting for your neighborhood association, but for everybody, but you'd also be getting community information and data for the city. To help outreach for the OWL and to help outreach for the app and things like that. we don't have permission to talk to the neighborhood association, so we can't even get started anywhere with that. We don't have a budget, so we can't even, and we sit twiddling our thumbs, waiting while the events are happening. I mean, I've pretty much given up that it'll happen this year. If anything, we'd be putting together a plan for next year, which gives us lots of running room to get it accomplished.
The summer market did just start.
It was very well
Yeah.
attended, I might
Yeah.
add.
So this is speculation on my part, but what I imagine would go into the work plan, you know, that you would agree on with council would then be items like that, right? And hopefully some specifics that you came up with in that letter will then be recycled into the work plan, and it'll be, I really have no idea how long that process is going to take. though.
Exactly, but before we can say, hey, let's do this, we have to actually talk to the neighborhood association and recruit them to be involved with us. We have to talk to the other, council advisory groups to get them involved. I know the art and,
Culture.
thank you, I want to call it arts and leisure or arts and entertainment or whatever, anything but culture. They wanted to set up a booth and do arts and get the kids involved. And while the kids are doing this, recruit parents, you know, why aren't we working together on things like that? But we're not allowed to talk to each other.
That's one of my pet peeves is that all the CAGs don't work together. They all.
You know, they have a
separately.
neighborhood association president's meeting once every couple of months. Why isn't there a CAG chair meeting once every couple of months so that we can talk amongst ourselves and say, this is what's happening with us. What are you guys doing? With the utility advisory board, they've got, you know, the bond coming up. Let's, you know, and we can strategize together as opposed to this flag flying over here and this one over here going, what the hell's going on?
I don't believe there's anything prohibiting that. We don't have precedent for it, but that's not the same as a prohibition.
I know.
Like, to talk to the neighborhood association presidents, and maybe we could get a member from here to go to one of their meetings. or vice versa.
I go to those meetings anyway,
Oh, okay.
you know.
You're the one that.
I'm already,
You see it, like the other CAGs have an interest in the president's having a CAG president meeting.
yeah,
Send an email to chair the liaison.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, we should get Mr. Williams' approval to do something. I don't want to be going behind somebody's back and, you know, doing any of this. And I know how my business works in this regard, and so I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to stab someone in the back or usurp power from anybody, which tends to happen in these types of situations, especially when people start talking.
I mean, we did, I think, talk last year about having like a CAG mixer where, like, if it was just a mixer where everybody.
And they're talking about having an appreciation, something or other. I believe the mayor mentioned it at the State of the Union address. State of the.
Wow.
State of something.
Close enough.
Which I may or may not have.
West Linn.
Yeah, exactly. Which I may have not had my picture appear in the weekly newsletter from said meeting.
Yes.
Could you send me that letter? I guess.
Sure.
What it's got,
Oh, yeah. So, yes.
background.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just this thing where people don't know that the neighborhood association exists. I think people think that the neighborhood association is like a, what you call it?
Yeah, definitely.
And we,
So,
We have those too.
and we're working very hard. I mean, we've redone the web page to a degree to differentiate and have right there this is not an HOA. There is a big difference between what this is. I've taken it upon myself in this discussion on Facebook. Everybody's going, I have a problem with this. I was like, well, come to the meeting on June 11th. You know, that's what these things are for.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't be doing that with everyone. And Councilor Bonington can only do so much as well.
so that's the thing, is just we wanted to have more outreach, like a marketing campaign to let the people know that the neighborhood associations are there, how to get involved, what's their importance.
And sitting here having meetings is not gonna get any community involved. You know, we can talk till we're blue in the face, and then we're just gonna be blue in the face, and nothing will change. I'm glad that I amused you. It's good enough that I amused someone besides myself. So that was kind of what was behind it. Since we had a whole, what am I thinking of? Change and focus change, charter, I don't want to say it's a charter change, but,
Standardization process.
well, the whole goal of this committee was changed from solely
Yeah.
being planning in that sort of, to actually being community involvement. And so we are transitioning through a period of adjusting to that without any real guidance. Considering that, like I say, our chair wasn't here for the first two meetings, and so I kind of took over, and we haven't really had guidance. So. Does that count as old business?
I think
That's
so.
what happens all-
So we passed over into old business. So that's our old business.
So we're still in limbo waiting to.
Yeah. I can say I went to the Wednesday market and got my flowers and some, strawberries and a tomato and,
Just wanted to make.
just got one tomato. It was a big one though, you know? It's just me, I don't need that many. And there was a lot of people and I was up early, so that's always a positive sign. A lot of variety as opposed to, you know, the crap liquors and that sort of thing.
I'm putting a group outside corner business. We have some stuff we want to get sold, so like,
Lovely.
let's just part of the farmer's market.
Exactly.
Right, a couple hours because we don't stay open then. Had some old business down and forgot. Oh, I know. Did we see if Chris can come to a future meeting?
Oh, yes, I did. I had a lovely email exchange with him. He is taking an extended vacation because if he takes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it gives him a whole long week. It only takes 3 days of vacation. So he is away. Would love to come join us in June.
Okay.
So he will be here in June. Chris Meyer from Vision 43. Oh, cool. Because they will be looking for us to help them get involved as well. And I would imagine as the waterfront progresses that as well. So. Although how we do that besides sitting here, I'm still trying to figure out, but that's part of our growth issues. So, anyone else have any,
Is the waterfront, do you know if the waterfront plan is just kind of, that's because it has no staff person?
Oh, no.
no,
we-
Darren took over.
Yeah,
Darren took over. They had the redevelopment agency meeting at 6 o'clock to discuss that tax money, at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Good.
Before the budget
Before the
meeting.
budget.
So, yeah, that is still in progress and there's like money.
I just haven't heard much about it.
Chris can probably tell you some things too, when he comes in June. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but Darren is spearheading that now. So if we need to ask him to come by, we can do that as well. We can have a whole planning department night.
That was all I.
Well, one last thing for me, I am limited in my maneuverability here, but I am happy to press for a date, for example, or kind of pitch the CCI's need, maybe as more pressing than other tags, because you guys are really waiting on, specific permission from council to be able to approach these other groups. I'm happy to kind of re-articulate that to, whoever I can and see if we can get some wheels greased. Again, I can't make promises, but I will do my best.
Yeah.
And I guess I guess part of that is that if I'm sitting in on this meeting and I have some relevant knowledge that I'm aware of, or I can say, this, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say as a representative of this body per se. You know what I mean? And so some clarification with that would be lovely.
Okay, you mean like as chair or?
I mean, like if I'm sitting in the neighborhood association president's meeting,
Say anything. I think
It's a public meeting. so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only time you can't do that is like if you're giving testimony, public testimony to council directly, you can't make them feel like you're representing the whole board.
Got you.
Taking a vote.
got you.
But like in a subcommittee meeting or anything like that, I think and you can just preface it that way. You can just say, as long as you can say whatever you want, as long as you're prefacing it as, I'm not speaking for the group as a whole, but this is what I know.
We have discussed this
Right.
and we are here to try and help you. Okay,
Do you have a question? Oh, that was, yeah. Because when you come to the group, you can come as a citizen, and so you have the right to speak. So, yeah.
ask Gladys Kravitz, who sticks her nose into everything. I can share. See, that reference just went whoosh right over your head. I saw your eyes glaze over. You got it. Bewitched, the neighbor across the street who always looks through the window. Abner. Sorry, it was my nickname for a long time. Any more staff announcements?
They're the big ones.
Well, we should look at the calendar and see what the, next, date is. 24th,
Those on my calendar.
that's what I have in mind, so I should be back from LA by then, so we should be good. Oh, all right, then, next meeting will be, June 24th. Unless anyone has anything else, I can, then we are adjourned at, 6:43.
I have, what, is there another food cart going in?
Oh.
Do I have to unadjourn to discuss that?
No. Is it on that same street?
It's just by in front of my business.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, right next to the pool supply, and that,
That part of
Bacon.
the park?
bacon gravel yard.
I can't fit much in.
8
8
in a building.
And the building.
to part inside eating. Huh,
And you have to have 8. 8 is a lucky number in Chinese, culture. What that has to do with the food carts in West Lynn, I have no idea, but.
I didn't know you were an actor.
I'm